Good Monday, Waddlers. It's me, your boy. Welcome back. At February's Minecraft Now, we learned that the original plan for froglight was Firefly. The frog would eat the firefly, and then you'd get the froglight. But small problem. Apparently, frogs have this tendency to enjoy being poisoned by fireflies, so pivot. Magma cube. But that leaves us with one big question. Are fireflies pointless? Today we're going to take a look at a couple different versions of the Firefly that could potentially end up being pretty similar to what we see in 1.19. You see this frog right here? Well, if you're consuming this video currently with your eyes, ears, maybe even mouth, this frog would be ecstatic if you left a like button, and even more ecstatic if this is your first video of mine and you subscribed as well. So, just saying. What do you think Firefly should do in 1.19? All of the different takes on Fireflies that we'll be taking a look at today will be linked down in the description. If you like what you see, definitely check them out. And of course, a big shout out to all of the original resource pack creators, mod creators, and data pack makers. This first one was created by Sigmarion, and it's by far the most simple concept here. The plus side of this concept is zero lag, zero problems for literally anyone. You could be playing this game on practically a potato, and you would be good. This would work out perfectly fine. So this concept, like all of them today, atmospheric, that's going to be the common theme you'll see in this video. It looks good. So check out this forest. No, it is not a swamp. So this concept, and a lot of the other ones in this video, aren't exactly swamp focused, but just imagine them inside of a swamp, okay? Yeah, glad we got that out of the way. So now this concept, the Fireflies. The Fireflies are really simple here. They're like a pixel, and these pixels are all over the leaves inside of this forest. Relaxing, atmospheric, vibey, calming, yeah, all of those things. This version of the Firefly is that. Imagine being able to walk through a forest, or I guess a swamp in 1.19, look around, and you have like all of this going on. Like, it's really not much, to be honest, but it adds to it. It definitely adds to it. I feel like there's a pretty decent chance at this point that the Firefly will get added to the game and literally just be here for the atmosphere. And if that's the case, I mean, this isn't a bad way to do it. Like, it gets added to the game. There's no issues with any performance or anything like that, and it looks nice, at least with the shaders. Okay, but if we're talking about performance issues, we might as well lose the shaders, so no shaders. I mean, it looks less immersive, it still looks nice, but for a whole development studio, Mojang, to just do this and call it good, maybe that would admittedly be a little not it. If the Fireflies are going to get added to the game and be just for the atmosphere, I hope a little bit more effort is put into the Fireflies. Now, to be clear, for a resource pack creator, this is nice, like nothing against the creator or the resource pack or anything like that, it's really nice. I'm just saying for a full development studio, to put 1 pixel or maybe even literally 2 pixels in the game and call it good, like I said, maybe that's not it. Moving on. Our next concept for the Firefly, that can be found inside of a mod. And this isn't just any mod. I mean, look at this thing. It's so graceful. It's majestic. All encapsulated inside of the small square footage of a Minecraft boat. Oh man, you know what this is? I'm so excited. It's Chessboat. Chessboat finally lives again. But that's beside the point. The Wild Update mod 1.19 by ZaneJX81. This mod is amazing. It's like perfect, and it's also, admittedly, maybe a little bit familiar to some of you. If you saw that video that I did a couple months ago on the frogs, the swamp update, and mangrove wood, this is how it was done. This mod right here. Picture this. 1.18 Caves and Cliffs update, 1.19 update. There are 2 Teslas all of a sudden going full speed, head on each other. A collision, of course. A gigantic collision. And then you end up with this. They're all here. You have mangrove wood, you have frogs, you have fireflies, you have the warden. It's like practically all here. This is a really cool mod. This mod has an interesting take on fireflies. Our last take on fireflies had them tied to the leaf block. This take on fireflies has them tied to the frog block. The frog block. Yeah, I just created an image in my head that I didn't need to see. The frog block. I'm gonna have to try and forget that one. So, bad news, if you were to go into the creative inventory and look for the Firefly spawn egg, you're not going to find it. Unfortunately, all of this other cool wild update stuff is here, or fortunately, but unfortunately, no Firefly spawn egg. That's going to be because the Firefly this time around is essentially the frog. Yeah, that's right, the frog is the Firefly. So, where a frog exists, Fireflies will also always exist. It's an interesting concept, and for a mod, I like it. I think this is a really nice way for one person to put fireflies and frogs and all this other cool stuff into the game. For a development studio, I don't know, but that's beside the point. Let's go ahead and go over to an area where there are no frogs and no fireflies. We drop a frog in, all of a sudden the fireflies come in, and it's so nice. Look at this, a happy existence. We have the frog right there, clearly smiling. You see the smile. And then the fireflies, I mean, they're literally 2 pixels, so they're not exactly smiling. But, I mean, there's no harm in assuming it's a happy, peaceful coexistence. Happy, peaceful coexistence, that's about it. The frog does not actually interact with these particles or anything like that. They're literally just particles that exist around the frog. It's a pretty nice way of doing things and definitely adds a lot of ambiance to an area with more than one frog, like the swamp biome. Look at the frogs and all of the fireflies in here. It's really cool. Wait, it gets even better. How about at nighttime? Oh yeah, that's one thing that I also hope they do a little bit differently. I don't have all of the answers. I don't know what the Firefly is actually going to do once it's added into the game, but I definitely hope 2 things. Thing number 1, it gives off some light at nighttime. That would be really, really cool. Like, I don't know how they could do it. The game doesn't really support dynamic lighting. Maybe, just maybe, this is the perfect opportunity to work on dynamic lighting or something. But if not that, they could do something like what they did with the glow signs. That's pretty cool. And I also really hope that a lot of the theories within the community are wrong, and this take is wrong. I really, really hope that fireflies are not just a particle effect that exists in an area or around the frog or something. I feel like having the firefly be its own proper mob would be really, really cool. But, I mean, at the least, if this is our reality and this is what it ends up being like, it definitely increases the ambiance of an area. Like the particles, they are nice. Firefly take number 3 today is inside of a data pack. A data pack by Amrith Arelis. This data pack does 2 things. So first off, a little bit of a sidetrack. Inside of the forest, look at this. The ambiance inside of this thing. Today is like really, I guess, all about the atmosphere of an area. The leaves, they fall inside of this thing. They're not like actually falling or anything. It's just basically a particle effect again. The realism and immersion that I've always craved from this game that definitely looks insanely realistic to begin with. The realism, immersion, oh man, take it and crank it all the way up. It's on max, like today, but especially inside of this place right here, the falling leaves, it's subtle, it's vibey. I love it. Subtle, vibey, but also technically not fireflies. So this take on fireflies actually ties them to grassy areas instead of the swamp biome. So this is where things are going to differ a little bit. Obviously, the wild update is like deep, dark, swamp biome, maybe the birch forest. This is kind of like a plains update, but it's a really nice take on fireflies. To make it fit into the wild update, maybe you just take this concept and slap it inside of the swamp biome. There you go. 1.19 immersion, that's also here. So condition number 1 for fireflies to exist, nighttime. You're going to need nighttime to happen. Fireflies will only spawn at nighttime. Condition number 2, a grassy area. So something like this, a grassy area, plains, grass all over the place. Yep, that's definitely it. Now, if we move around this area at nighttime, looking around, we're going to see floating XP orbs. You're wrong. It's not an XP orb. This is actually a firefly. Look at the firefly flying around at nighttime inside of the field. Oh, man. Imagine this with, like, a bunch of them all over the place. And, you know, maybe not XP orbs. Yeah, that's it. See, I like this concept because it's getting closer and closer to the firefly actually being a proper mob, its own thing that exists inside of the world. Now, clearly with this version of the Firefly, if you try and take this thing out, you will literally get nothing. I don't even know if you can actually take it out. But this time it's an actual thing. It's not just a single pixel or 2 pixels existing inside of the world. It's an actual Firefly that moves around on its own and exists. Yeah, did I say it exists? Give it a little bit of time and, you know, get even more fireflies, and you can start to see how an area is really going to be affected by these things flying around at nighttime. The XP orbs also, because they're XP orbs, give off a little bit of a glow, which is nice, and it just looks good. I mean, I do realize that 1.19 is all about the swamp update and everything, but, I mean, fireflies, they don't exist only inside of the swamp. Why not let these things spawn anywhere at nighttime and just fly around? Almost like a bat, but we'll come back to that. Lions, tigers, mythical tree creatures. Our final stop of the day is inside of the Mo Creatures mod by Dr. Zarky. This is a legendary Minecraft mod that has essentially been around as long as the game. This is a really, really old mod, and I'm running an old version of it. I couldn't figure out if there was like a newer, more up-to-date version, but Mo Creatures. Mo Creatures is like the perfect mod if you're looking for more life inside of your world. If you've always wanted things like lions, other versions of foxes, other versions of pandas, and yeah, mythical things like this thing, whatever this is, if you've ever wanted things like that inside of your world, this is the way to go, definitely. I feel like I've known about this mod since like before I was ever born, but this is truthfully like the first time I'm ever really messing with it or doing anything with it. The long-awaited delay was for a good reason though, because I think this mod has maybe my favorite take on the Firefly out of all of the takes that we took a look at today. Look at this thing, the model of this Firefly right here, like it's a fly and it's on fire, like oh my gosh. This thing, the model, I'm obsessed with good models, and good model, like yes, this is exactly it. It flies, it sits around. The Firefly, this is the perfect version. It kind of reminds me of the bat, and yeah, like the perfect version, this Firefly. This version of the Firefly right here is so nice. It's great. Now, the Fireflies inside of this mod aren't only in the swamp biome, they can spawn on any grass blocks, so to wildize it, meaning like make it for the wild update, basically just take this concept and slap it inside of the swamp. There you go, problem solved. This take on the Firefly, first off, has them actually existing. They're real mobs, which means you can actually take them out. They're kind of hard to hit, but you could definitely take them out. This take on the Firefly basically has them just existing during the daytime, during the nighttime. They don't really do much for the game, and they don't really drop anything at all, like literally nothing other than experience. So there's no point in taking them out, but they exist. The Firefly concept seems pretty consistent. Whether it's inside of a mod that is from literally years ago, or inside of a mod that is from a couple months ago, the atmosphere. The Firefly's main point is to look good. If we're talking about looking good, this is what I like. I think this one looks the best by far. Completely unlike anything we saw in Minecraft Live. It's the most advanced, but advanced is fine. I mean, look at the Minecraft Bee. The thing is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive and absolutely advanced. I think adding a Firefly to the game that is literally just 2 pixels, I don't know, that's kind of a missed opportunity. In more recent weeks, I've seen this really interesting concept bouncing around inside of the community that basically has to do with Firefly lanterns. You take the Firefly, you put it inside of a bottle, and you get a lantern. That's a great idea. But back to the Mo Creatures mod for a quick second. So the Fireflies inside of this mod, they exist. In the daytime, they kind of just fly around. At nighttime, they kind of just fly around. If it is nighttime, however, they do have this subtle glow. Now, subtle is exactly the word for it. It's really hard to see. In fact, I don't even know if I'm seeing it, to be honest. When a new mob is added to Minecraft, I personally feel like it should always have a point. Now, that point doesn't always have to tie into an item, in my opinion. The point could be ambiance, but when it's added to the game, it should definitely have a purpose. If the developers decide to take the Firefly in a direction that involves items, I really hope they make the model a little bit more advanced, kind of like the bat or the Minecraft Bee. If the developers decide to go a more simple route, I think this thing still deserves to be a little bit more than, like, literally a couple pixels. Obviously, I really hope these things actually have a point. Something like a Firefly lantern, capture these things in a bottle would be really cool. But at the least, if they really are just for the atmosphere like the bat, hopefully they at least look cool. I guess that was the point of today's video. What do you think Fireflies should do? Firefly in a bottle, or maybe something else? What do you think they should look like? A little bit more advanced, or is just a couple pixels fine? Share your takes on all of that and maybe anything else down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. All of the mods will be linked down in the description. Big thank you to my patrons, Sierra the Black Swan, Andrew H, Austin V, and Sortiri. Thank you so much for the support. Remember to impress that frog that was in the beginning by leaving a like, or maybe even overjoy that frog by subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. It's been me, your boy.